With careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA.
Oh, earlier this week I made the announcement. I'm transgender. I'm a woman. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well. I mean, I think I'd be unstoppable, but I'm a team first guy. I'm a pass first kind of player. I do the little things. I led my team in all 5 major stat categories at Iowa State University. So I do a little bit of everything. I'll do whatever the coach needs me to do. I'll do whatever the girls need me to do. I think the WNBA could come out and make a definitive statement about guys with a pair of balls playing in the women's association. But hey, that'd be probably too much like right. So, and I don't want to be discriminated against. No, I want fair treatment. I'm a young black, hopefully United States senator that would like a fair chance to participate as a sometimes identifying as a transgender woman athlete.
Now, obviously, these two are trolling, right? These two retired former NBA players are not about to jump into the draft. Obviously, they're trolling. But here's why I like this, right? Because it's going to force, along with what Sophie Cunningham is standing up for and fighting for and everything, while currently in the league, it forces the hand of the WNBA and they're the head of the WNBA, right? It forces your hand. Because like Stephen A was saying, right, in their own article, right, in their own policy, this was a league for women, right? What Stephen A is saying, though, basically is you didn't get specific enough, right? You didn't get specific enough. Okay, so you didn't say, women that were, because of the state of society that we're in now, you didn't state that it has to be biologically born females that identify as women. So, because when you just put it as in this was a sports league for women, when you got the blue-haired septum-ring freaks on the left saying that, hey, anybody that identifies as a woman can identify as a woman. Anybody. And it goes along with the whole notion of they want this to be a place you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, wherever you want, right? Because if you were to sit there and be like, well, I now declare that I feel like a woman today. I am now a woman. They're going to feel that, well, we can't tell you that you're not a woman and because you feel like a woman, and we can't tell you that you're not. So it starts a gray area, starts to get tricky and stuff like that. I'm like, obviously. So like Stephen A was saying, you weren't specific enough. Now you have people who are like biological males going to try to get into the league. Now, here's the thing that really gets to me, though. You have people in the league, in the WNBA, who do not like Sophie Cunningham because of what she's saying and what it seems like she's going against and everything like that, because it seems like she's going against the community, right? But here's the funny thing. Those same women that play in the same league as Sophie Cunningham, they would not stand up, get on their live streams or lives or whatever. They won't get on their social medias. They won't even go outside with signs and protests saying that they want transgenders in the WNBA. None of them. You haven't seen not one player, even if they don't like what she's saying, coach or player, you haven't seen not one of them saying, yes, we want transgenders in the league as a majority. None of them. You haven't seen not one say that. So the crazy thing is, and as the head of the WNBA, this is where it forces your hand. I'm like, because now you at a fork in the road. Like Stephen A was saying, you sitting here saying you don't want it to be politicized and made a mockery of and everything. It's too late. It's already there. We already there, obviously, from the videos I just showed you and that's been circulating the internet. Obviously, we're already there. So now you at a fork in the road, because now you're either going to have to go ahead and induct transgender players into the league now, which, be honest with you, not only just Sophie, there's so many girls so many women that play in the WNBA that just are not going to say it, but they don't want to play with transgenders either. They don't want to play with them either. And they're not going to say it. They're not going to come out and say it, but they don't want to play with transgenders either, just for the fact that they know they're biological males. And I don't care what you want to say about hormones, transition, any of that. I don't care what you say. They're still biological males, especially those who have not had a surgery. They obviously, if they still got their boy parts and everything, their male parts and everything, obviously, there's just another way to make it unsafe for women. And yeah, we can say all day, oh, well, these transgenders are not like that. They just want to play basketball and all. Okay, well, why isn't that a thing though? Like, why isn't it a thing that, hey, the second you decide you're going to transition, that means you're automatically opting out of any professional sports. Automatic. Like, why don't they do that? I don't understand that part. That don't make no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't understand that. But whatever. So this is, you come into a fork in the road for the WNBA. Either you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna start putting transgenders into the locker rooms and onto the court in the WNBA on their teams and everything. Like, either you're gonna start incorporating transgenders, which will make a lot of the women who, like I said, they choosing to stay silent, and that's fine. I get it, and they're not gonna say nothing. But bet money deep down, they don't want transgenders in the league either. Especially the superstars, especially the ones that are, you know what I'm saying, doing very well right now. They definitely don't want no transgenders in the league. I guarantee it, because their stats going to start going down. Think of the top 5 WNBA players right now, and think of a game where they have to play, say a team has a transgender center, right? They got a transgender center on the team, right? And whoever like all top 5 of those stars that we just thought about, right? Say they had to go against that team with that transgender center on it. Their stats are gonna go down, like, tremendously, if they get to score at all. Nobody gonna go down low. Nobody gonna go in the paint. We're just gonna see 3-pointers all night. They're gonna be shooting them all night. It's not gonna be fair to the women. It's not, and we know that. But either you're gonna take that route and incorporate transgenders on teams now because you want to be so inclusive, and you agree with the community on that side that if you consider yourself a woman, you're a woman. Or you're going to go down the other path, which is with Sophie Cunningham and all of them, that, no, these are still biological males, and you're going to have to re-edit and revamp that Article 13 that, hey, this league is only for biologically born females that identify as women. You're going to have to specify it, or you're just going to go down the route and incorporate transgenders into the league. You're going to have to do one of the two. The WNBA cannot stay silent about this. They can't. They cannot shut up about this. They can't. They got to even if they don't make a statement, they got to make a action. They got to make a decision. Either you're going to go down, because you're at a fork in the road now. So either you're going to go ahead and start, because it just says it's a sports league for women. And apparently to y'all, anybody can consider themselves a woman today in this social climate. So, okay. And that's why these two did what they did. But that means, hey, and we've seen videos circulating in like other little league, like separate leagues and stuff. We've seen transgender women playing against other women in like other leagues and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like not anything major or anything like that on national, but we've seen that. Those videos are circulating. You can go click off this video and go look at that video right now if you want. Which means that person would try to go into the WNBA if they decide to go down that fork in the road, that part of the fork in the road, and incorporate transgenders into the league. Which honestly is going to make it unsafe for women. I beg to bet that if the WNBA decides to go down that road, they're going to catch backlash either direction they go. But if they go down the direction of incorporating transgenders into the league, then not only do they get backlash, but they also may get like some protest from the players. And maybe whole teams will sit out because they got a huge transgender on the other team. I bet I'm willing to bet money if they go down that route that one of these teams gonna have a huge transgender on it, and they are going, the team that's playing the team with the transgender on it, they are going to either opt all the way out and forfeit those games, or they're going to get a transgender of their own, and it's just going to be that transgender is just going to be on that transgender the entire time, the entire game. Every game is going to go like that. It's going to get a little more boring is what it's going to do. It's going to put the WNBA, especially the games, in these awkward positions. It really is. And if they decide to go down the other route, which would be right behind Sophie Cunningham with, no, this is only a sport for biologically born women or females who identify as women. And then that would mean that Well, what you did to Sophie Cunningham was for no reason then. Everything you called her, everything you've done, like the little fans that she had brought to one of the games, and they left there crying because people were so crazy towards them because of what they stood for and the signs they were holding. They were so mean and cruel and all of that. That means all of that was for nothing. You did all of that to them kids and to Sophie Cunningham for nothing, because at the end of the day, you went down the same route that she went. This is only a sport for biologically born females. You went down the same route as her if you go down that route. So it means you really was giving her flack and backlash for no reason, because at the end of the day, you agreed with her. That's what it meant. If you go down that road, and if you go down the other road, it's going to put the WNBA in an awkward position, I guarantee it. And who's going to come to the WNBA has had a rise in fans and revenue since a few years ago, just a few years ago. Before that, trash league, it was diminishing, it was going downhill, it was about to be obsolete, right? If you incorporate transgenders into the WNBA, nobody coming to see them but the people that may already come to see the games and just other transgenders for support. That's it. I'm like, you may even lose fans. You're definitely gonna lose some women fans, because understand there are women out there who don't like the right and all of that, and consider themselves leftists and all that, but who do not agree with transgenders in women's sport. You're gonna lose a lot of that crowd too. I don't care one way or the other, okay? Transgenders, I have no problem with the trans community at all. Do you know what I'm saying, be who you want to be. It don't make you less human, and don't make you less, you know what I'm saying, have less feelings or anything like that because you want to transition. It don't make you less of a human, right? Because you want to transition. Do you? I can't dictate how you live your life, and vice versa. If you want to be trans or whatever, I can't dictate to you how you live and what you do in your life. It's your business. It's your life. It's your business. But there's some stuff we got to put a foot down on. It's some stuff we got to put a foot down on, and that's one of them. We got to put a foot down on that. We just got to. We got to put a foot down on that. I'm sorry. It is what it is. We got to put a foot down. The problem is there's no solution that gets transgenders into the WNBA besides just the WNBA opening up to people who identify as women. And when you do that, you, like I said, you create that gray area, and then you got people like Cantor and Royce White talking about how they want to, former retired NBA players talking about how they want to join the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? And obviously I don't believe they would actually do it. Obviously they trolling, like I said from the beginning. Obviously they just being funny. But even when like I said, when Stephen A was speaking, there's some truth to it. You're going to be forced. You're in a fork in the road now, WNBA. You gotta make a decision. Either you're gonna go left or right, and left is incorporating transgenders into the league, which you know can have some very negative impact from teams, coaches, players to fans. You know what I'm saying? It could be a huge thing, and it could be a definitely blowback if you decide, okay, well, to please both sides, we gonna go ahead and open it up to trans women, but we not gonna draft any trans women or pick up any trans women, even though they might be a lot better than a lot of the women on the teams, which would be messed up, because if you start dropping people on the teams for these trans women, then once again, you're gonna make women feel less than. Those women on those teams are going to feel less than, because they're going to say a whole transgender came and replaced me. You're going to get blowback from that. I'm like, but if you're trying to please, that's trying to please the left. I'm like, but pleasing the right would be not picking any of them up on your team under that, which is going to get you blowback from the trans community. Because then it's going to be like, well, damn, why'd you give our hopes up and let us, you know what I'm saying, go into the draft, or let us do pickups and all this or whatever, tryouts and all of that, and then you pick none of us up across the entire league. They're going to be like, you did that just to try to prove face to both sides. Like, now you wicked. You know what I mean? And it's deceptive. So it's regardless, they're not going to come out this looking good. The WNBA, you're not. Either you're going to get blowback from the left because you decide this is only strictly for biologically born females, or you're going to get the blowback from the right for incorporating transgenders into the league, and then which may have some physical impact on the women that play against them. So you'll definitely get blowback from not only women, the players, but people from the right completely, because our women are being hurt doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what's going to happen, but they're going to have to figure that out. The WNBA going to have to figure that out. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have to figure that out at some point. So hopefully, but they can't stay quiet about this. So I don't know, y'all, but push this up, man. Let's try to get 500 subscribers. Let's do it. feel like I'm good on my own. Don't need nobody beside me.